Well, greetings and welcome to another episode of Lightbulb Moments. This is episode number 180 something. If JP from our team could put in the chat what actual episode this is, that would be great. I can't keep track. Thanks for joining us today, and thanks for spending your precious ATM with us. The three currencies we have in life: attention, time, and money. Whether you are watching live or listening to the podcast or joining us on a YouTube, we're glad you're with us. I want to give a shout out to sponsors. Cunity is the main producer of Lightbulb Moments, but we do welcome Zenoti and Lightheart Sanders as two sponsors to this forum. Thanks to them for making this platform happen. The light bulb moment. So what is a light bulb moment? Well, it's a moment of realization, enlightenment, or inspiration. And we all need a light bulb moment now and then to create a spark. Because remember, you can't start a fire without a spark. Couple things before we jump into this episode. I'm super excited with our guest today, which we'll get to in a moment here, but two things. We are on the eve of the Phil, our fourth annual Phil, which also includes a celebration of Lightbulb Moments, which actually happens a week from Sunday. So if I'm dating myself, this episode is actually, what is the date of the episode? May 7th. And a celebration of Lightbulb Moments will happen on May 18th in Austin, Texas, in affiliation with the University of Texas. And that evening, I celebrate all of my amazing guests over the last 5 years, actually. Actually, we are soon going to be on our 5-year anniversary of Lightbulb Moments. So super excited about a celebration of Lightbulb Moments at the Phil. And the Phil is our upcoming conference. It's our signature conference. Again, it's an affiliation with the University of Texas, Austin, McCombs School of Business. And it is full of all sorts of different things. It's a place, it's a time to fill your bucket and also to fill the gaps in your business. So super excited about that. We still have the opportunity for you to join us at the Phil. We will be having some special segments, including on Tuesday morning at the Phil. We have something called a multi-meetup, which is for multi-location salons and spas only. And during that segment, what we're going to do is we're going to celebrate the unsung heroes in multi-location, and that is what we'll call the number twos, the general managers, the ones that wear about a dozen different hats. And we know that in the multi-location model, those GMs, those director of operations are essential, and that will happen as a special breakfast. If you're attending the Phil and your multi-location, reach out. You do have to qualify by multi-location to be part of that. So super excited about that. Last session, I took a moment to share the genesis of Cunity and the name Cunity and the pencil and the lens, if you will, and the whole idea behind Cunity. And that was really about the pairing of creativity and business, the left brain, the right brain. It also has a little bit to do with my background. I was an accountant, but I also do have a right brain that has a pulse. I was a photographer, etc. So anyway, I'm led to share another light bulb moment I've had in a few over the most recent days here that's sort of in that same vein, and something that I've been sort of struggling with here. And it really goes to this whole idea of unity and the ability to be able to do a few different things, the ability to zoom in, to be able to dive deep into something, be super rigorous, but then the opportunity to zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. I mean, it's a mental skill. It can be taxing, and it's a skill that takes time to develop. Where I'm leading with this is I have spent about the last year, actually it goes back to the fall of 2023, on a very important data project, which is I'll call it unprecedented profitability study. Through the actual collection of profit and loss statements. It's something that Cunity has done in the past. At the very beginning, we actually collected profit and loss statements primarily from multi-location salons, but we knew we needed to open that up. And we also knew that benchmarks in the industry are dated, they're pre-pandemic, or they're not actually data driven. They're not based upon the collection of profit and loss statements. So anyway, without getting into a deep dive on the P&L study, and which is a study of profitability benchmarks and industry trends, I've lived in this world of being an analyst, a data person. And I've taken very seriously when we have when we're collecting people's arguably some of their most sensitive information in their company that they share to us because they trust us. So I feel a privilege and grateful to be able to have people entrust them with their P&L so that we can come back and do something that's beneficial for the industry. And I've been struggling lately because I've been in such this zoom in mode where it's all about the data and the integrity of the data, the methodology. And to be honest, I've been boring people silly. And some people are really interested in a lot of that. So what I'm doing is I'm doing this mental pivot into, okay, well, this is the data. The findings are amazing. They're rich. There's some big surprises. So I'm finding myself coming into the other side of my brain, the side of my brain that says, let's zoom out a little bit and let's make this relevant and let's make this more digestible to people. So anyway, I think it's really this whole idea of unity and the ability to use both sides of your brain, and how I'm personally living in that right now. So I don't know if anybody has any comments on that. I thought I'd share that little personal light bulb moment with you. And with that, what we're going to do is we are going to get to our guests, who are Samantha and Philip Gould of Goulds from the great state of Tennessee. I don't know if any of you recall that song, Tennessee Jed. Let me see how it goes. Isn't along the line of Tennessee is there's no place I'd rather be. Is that right, Goulds?
I think you got it.
That sounds good.
Part one of this episode dealt with intergenerational family business. Part two is a topic that just really just jumped out at me when we had a prep session. And what I want to talk about is something that you've done that's very unique. And you have 8 salon spa locations, you have 2 schools, and you're in the suite business.
Correct.
And now I've known single location businesses that have done it. I've seen people try it and fail and people try and succeed, but how you've done it, I think, is super interesting. So this particular episode deals exclusively with getting into the solo market. And Philip, what really when we spoke about this, I so related to your point of view when you went into this space. You went into this space with a little bit of, I don't think angst is the right word, but you had some very strong opinions about it. You know, in fact, you said you're not a proponent of suites. And so let's spend a little bit of time talking about that, okay?
Sure, absolutely.
So let's do a level set on, you know, the part of your business that has suites, okay? Just give just a short background and a short history, and then let's dive in on that a little bit more.
11 years ago, we had an opportunity to take an adjacent space at one of our full service salon spas. And I thought it would be an opportunity to test the suite market. So we built 10 or 11 suites in a suburb here in Memphis, Germantown, and added these suites. And again, you know, as I had mentioned to you, Tom, in our prep call, I've never been a huge proponent of it, quite frankly. There's a lot of pros and cons that we could spend a lot of time discussing and talking about. But it was an inevitable progression in our business, I felt. And so we did that. And then fast forward to 2021, actually just coming out of COVID, we had an opportunity on some really good real estate to open a suite location in a very good demographic for suites. And as now we're having these national franchise units come into our city and are doing their level best to rate our salons of our highly productive stylists. Every salon owner is well aware of that and has dealt with that. And so the opportunity presented itself for us to open 30 suites, and we did. We thought we would brand it differently, so we branded it under the name LUXE, LUXE, and we thought we'd do it a little different than the national chains. We put a concierge in. We furnished our suites in luxury style with custom cabinetry, etc. And have since opened one in Mississippi, and as recent as 2 months ago, opened one just about 2 blocks from our office here in East Memphis. So we currently have 98 suites that we lease in our suite operation business, and really, again, now we discuss with our students at Goulds Academy and stylists that opportunity presents itself. We do get a lot of inquiries for suites from young stylists, from stylists coming out of our academy, that we tell them, you need to get into a salon. You do not need to go to a suite. It's not for you at this time. But it does give stylists the opportunity and a career path. And that's the main objective, Tom, of us getting into suites, is to provide a career path for a stylist who comes out of cosmetology school, goes into a full service salon environment, which is where they need to be. I preach that every day. And then if they want to go in business for themselves, they have that opportunity. Just real quickly, wave your hand at me if I get long-winded, Tom. But I tell people it's not for everyone, and we do offer. We require a 1-year lease in our suites, but we do offer. We've had a few stylists that have exercised an option that I put in the lease, that if they decide that's not what they want back into a full service salon, then we will let them out of their lease, but they have an obligation to come to a Goulds salon for another year. And we had a few exercise that option because they miss the salon environment. You're in a room by yourself, so there's so much to be said about working in a salon environment.
Yeah, I'm gonna toggle over to you, Sam, in a moment here, but I want to stay here a little bit longer because I so respect and agree with that point of view. And as someone that's worked with entrepreneurs, creative entrepreneurs, for more decades than I probably should admit on this broadcast, but 30, 40, whatever years, the glamorization of entrepreneurship is sometimes that very much concerns me. There's an element that relates, whether you're a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, there's an element of risk that most people don't have the stomach for. And I just think the indulgence of with social media, et cetera, about glamorizing suites is dangerous. There is a place for it. 10%, students, maybe it's a more mature student that has some business experience and confidence, but I agree with you, and I'm going on a little bit of a soapbox here, but I'm almost done, which is why when we created our Money EDU curriculum for students, we were very clear about the pros and cons, including the cons of going solo, especially right out of school.
Right.
And I'm very passionate about making sure we teach people the importance of taxation, including tax compliance, professionalism, and then the pros and cons of entrepreneurship, including entrepreneurship, which for me is the sweet spot of the universe, where someone has a business within a business working at a great company like yours. I'm off my soapbox.
Very good.
Sam, you mentioned something that was super compelling in terms of a career path based upon salon schools. I love that. Please go there.
Yes. Yes.
I think what we might do is get close to wrapping up this episode. Okay.
Sure. So we do offer a career path for somebody who can stay within the Goulds family for their entire career. And so starting with a student, they can go to Goulds Academy and get a cosmetology, nail tech, massage therapist, barber, esthetician. Then they can move into one of our salons or spas, build up their career, develop clientele, build their book of business. And then if they want that option to be their own boss, they can move into one of our suites at LUXE, be their own boss, have their flexibility. When they get to the point they want to retire, they can come back and be a teacher at Goulds Academy, teach the next generation.
It was that last part that just really, really was my big aha moment of a career path, because you're right. And, the opportunity to be an educator, and there's a lot of unsung heroes out there that are educators in schools, including I'm sure that you have.
We are wonderful teachers. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what a great episode. And I feel like we could probably spend another half an hour here and dive a little bit deeper, but I want to be respectful of your time and our guest time. So let's give these guys a virtual round of applause and thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
And I've already mentioned in your other episode that you're going to do a $15 light bulb comment. You only have one coming for both episodes. But let's get Uni on here someday.
Yes, definitely.
She would certainly.
She would love it.
She would be very entertaining, I assure you.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I've been dying to have you both as guests. You're wonderful guests. Took a little bit because of maternal type matters here.
Yes. Yes.
That's true. We had to delay.
I'll bring Emmy next time.
All right. Thanks for being such great guests, and thanks to our listeners for joining us today. And listen to both parts of this particular session. I love the session on multi-generational family business. And then also a bit of a conversation about navigating your way into the solo business model, but also being mindful of what's good for the industry and what's good for the professional workforce. And I so respect and in many cases agree with your points of view on this. So,
right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Enjoyed it, everybody. See you at the Phil. For those of you that are watching and listening to this episode either live or before May 18th. And we wish all of you best and have a great rest of the week. Thanks again for joining us.